Probably should have practiced this. Hello everybody, welcome to 1 Minute Wednesday. It's supposed to be the first 1 Minute Wednesday that I filmed entirely outside. I felt very confident this morning when I woke up because it was nice and sunny and I got out to the beach and yeah, it was too windy, you wouldn't have been able to hear me, which some of you actually might have preferred, but tough. I'm doing it inside so you can hear me perfectly. Anyway, today is all about lens hoods, this bit of plastic that sits in front of your lens, and it primarily has two purposes. The first is that it can help you take better images. So one of the problems with even modern expensive lenses is that when light hits them side on, it can cause a few problems. Things like lens flare, glare, softer colours, softer blacks. So generally speaking, you can get a much clearer image potentially using a lens hood. It's sort of a similar thing to if you kind of block your eyes from the sun, or when you take the sun visor down in your car and it blocks some of the sun, you get yeah, you get the idea. The second and most important reason to use a lens hood, I think, is to protect the lens. So as you can see, that piece of glass at the front is pretty much open to all the elements. If you drop a camera on a hard surface, chances are that glass is going to smash. If you put the lens hood on, then the first thing to make contact is the lens hood, and that's what's likely to get damaged, as is shown by what a mess this particular one is. So for pretty much that reason alone, I always keep the lens hood on, with two exceptions. The first is when I want to try and introduce lens flare or glare into an image for creative effect. Take the lens hood off because obviously it's designed to stop that. Not rocket science, James, is it? And the second is when it's windy. So this lens hood and lens isn't a particularly good example of it because it's not huge, but if you have one of those big telephoto lenses, they can have lens hoods that are 10, 15 centimeters long. And in windy conditions, that wind can blow around in the lens hood and cause lots of motion, which means you're unlikely to get as sharp a shot as you would without using a lens hood. So in windy conditions especially, it's a case of weighing up, do you want to risk introducing things like lens flare in order to get a sharper image? So you just have to think about that on a case-by-case basis. One other thing to say about lens hoods, if you are interested in looking like a complete novice, then what you can do is turn the lens hood round so it sits backwards. Now it sits backwards for one reason and one reason only, and that's for storage. This camera and lens has a smaller footprint when the lens hood is turned around this way than it does when the lens hood is round the proper way. That's the only reason that this reversible mechanism exists. But lots of people, typically tourists in big cities, will turn their lens hood round like this for seemingly no reason. I mean, it offers no protection, and an added bonus is that you can't really turn the zoom barrel as easily because the hood is obviously in the way. So if you're finding that you're not challenged enough in zooming and you want a bit more of a challenge, then maybe you can turn the lens hood round that way and look like a complete novice. But yeah, that's pretty much it for lens hoods. Pretty simple piece of kit, but it can be quite useful at times, particularly in protecting a lens. I hope that was useful. Thank you very much for watching. See you for another 1 Minute Wednesday, same time next week.